Everybody, welcome to A Cow's Opinion, the only show on the internet where I, a cow, give you my opinion on the latest and greatest happenings in the video game world. And if it makes you upset or you disagree, you write in the comments below. But don't let it bother you too much. It is a cow's opinion, it's a moot point, and it does not matter. Today, it's all bad news as we look at the Callisto Protocol and several things that Activision Blizzard is doing that make us sad. Am I the only one hoping that Microsoft buys these guys soon so they can make us a little less sad? Because I feel like the sad is sad. But let's stop on company number one for news on this news program. And let's look at the new Callisto Protocol, which is the spiritual successor from Dead Space. And it released, and a lot of people are having fun with it. And, you know, the reviews have been generally positive. There's been some stuff where they admit that it's kind of buggy. And we're going to talk about the bugs because the protocol's director has blamed the launch issues on a damn clerical error. And they also think that Twitter needs to chill. I don't know if those two things are connected, but I agree that Twitter could use a little bit of chilling. So a lot of reviewers have been indicating that the Callisto Protocol is not great. Especially if you're on the PC, your performance is hit or miss. In fact, I've been trying to watch my man Jesse Cox play the Callisto Protocol. The problem is that his PC setup just does not work. The consoles also have some odd bugs in them as well. Not necessarily like throw your controller through the screen, but just really not fun stuff. And the CEO has recently come out and said that the stuttering and crashing is from a damn clerical error. Basically, a wrong file was patched, just freaking error by somebody rushing. Now, Kotaku goes on to remind us that rushing brings to mind something he talked about when they were doing overtime, exhaustion, tired, COVID, but we're working, lunch, dinner, working, you do it because you love it. But he later apologized to employees for glorifying the practices. As we all know, crunch in the video game industry is something that the fans don't like, but that people in these corporate seats feel like is necessary when really it's not. Nobody's asking you to work your employees to the hospital room. Just, you know, let them make a good game and we'll pay for it. It's not that big of a deal. Now, they have already released patches to improve the PC stuttering and the frame rates on the Xbox, but fans still have problems with ray tracing, and they can rest assured that the developers have once again in overtime. He's going to take vacation when it's fixed. The fans are his priority. Now, game development can be a chicken or an egg either way, either born from pressure or responding to it. Now, as the article admits, we all want our games, and we hate having to wait. Part of the problem is that the video game industry likes to announce games over a year in advance to get you all hyped and wonderful, and then ready to spend your money and even pre-order, and then you gotta wait 12 or more months to play it. That's a long time. Sure, the anticipation is part of the fun when you finally get what you want, but that's a long time, especially in the current video game industry where new games are coming out on Steam and online and from first parties all the time. There's always a best next new hotness, so you don't need to worry too much. So he closes it, being mean, cynical, and acting like you know me isn't going to make it go any quicker. I'd ask for patience and understanding as we fix this issue. We aren't happy about it either. So honestly, I think it's just, I don't know if it's actually a clerical error that happened, or it was just, you know, rushing the game to get to its point, but look, I've said it before, and I like the Callisto Protocol, and I like the Dead Space creators and team, so I want to give them benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to take them to task or anything, or say that they're terrible people, but this is probably just an example of it's ready when it's ready. You cannot rush these things. Making a game is an extremely complex thing, and debugging takes time, and if you don't have the time, you're not going to have the best product. Hopefully, they get it fixed, because, again, I really, really want to play the game myself someday, and I really want to see Jesse Cox play it too. Scary Game Squad for life. Now, going back to, you know, when years ago, I just want to say years ago, we're going back to Activision Blizzard, obviously. It says that Overwatch 2 on your screen right now. But years ago, EA used to be the most horrendous company. And now I feel like Activision Blizzard says, hold my beer, every time we hear about EA news. Because there's a lot more Activision and Blizzard. Microsoft can't buy these guys fast enough and get new processes and people in at the top, is all I'm saying. So we all know that Overwatch 2 has not had the best of launches. People were wondering why they're paying. People were not happy that they decreased the number of players in a match. People were unhappy with the gating of heroes in a game where the whole point is that every time I respawn, I can pick not just a new hero, but a new class, because now you're kind of locked into an attacker, tanker, support role as well, I believe. I don't think they've changed that yet. And free-to-play shooter Overwatch 2 is launching Season 2 tomorrow. Already? These seasons are damn short. With a brand new tank character, Ramatra, is how I'm going to pronounce it. Now, you can buy the Premium Battle Pass and get them instantly, which, let me just say, I don't like the idea of Battle Passes on a game that is, you have to buy. I believe you have to buy. No, it's still free to play. It's still free to play. Yep. It's still free to play. But, the problem with these is that you can grind the free pass or you can buy the premium battle pass and you get the hero instantly. But Blizzard had a lot of complaints with their Season 1 hero, Kiriko. She is a support Fox Ninja healer type, and it took a long time to unlock her. Now, it didn't make it any easier in Season 1 because they had server issues, bugs, characters being removed from the game, some of which were needing to be fixed. Others just accidentally removed from the game for no real reason. Unnecessarily pricey skins, issues with crossplay, support mains, it's a giant mess. And I would also like to add one thing that the Kotaku article did not point out, which is the skin that they gave you as an apology for all this looked like it was just supposed to be the free skin that you get when you play their Halloween event. So they didn't really give you anything. They just moved a reward up sooner and said, hey, hope you like this one character, because if you don't, YOLO. Now, in Season 1, if you bought the Battle Pass, you got Kiriko instantly. And as a hero who could counter other heroes in a game where it's all about countering heroes, it was pretty important. But you had to go up to level 55 to unlock her if you didn't buy the pass. Now, if you think that sounds kind of bad, it is. These types of games are notorious for drastically slowing down your leveling once you get to level 10 or so, usually. Between 10 and 15. It uses a lot of the logic of an MMO, which is the first few levels are really quick to give you a lot of core abilities and functions and get you trained and moving in the world, and then it just gets into a slog. And especially, leveling up the pass took certain challenges that you had to complete, including, like, you had to pin 5 enemies with Orisha's spear. What if you don't like playing Orisha? Well, tough. You go play her at least one, possibly more matches, because you gotta pin enemies 5 times with it. As well as they would have you do, I can't even go into the list of this, you guys. They would have you do, they wouldn't pay a lot of XP, so you weren't leveling yourself or your characters up a lot. Not only that, but it would say you have to play 3 supports, or you have to do this specific thing in a match. And there would be times where you could go on YouTube and Twitch and find people angry because it was obvious that their random teammates were focusing more on completing the pass than actually playing the game, which is not great if you're ranked and trying to advance or learn. So Blizzard has promised an easier path. An easier path on the pass, Game director Aaron Keller has tweeted that Blizzard has reviewed data from Season 1 and moved Ramatra from Tier 55 to Tier 45, and some challenges will be made easier. Specifically, hey y'all, quick updates on some changes coming to Season 2. After reviewing data for Season 1, we're moving Ramatra into Tier 45 of the Battle Pass and making a few more weekly challenges easier to complete. Excited for you all to see everything new in Season 2 starting tomorrow. This is part of Activision Blizzard's continuous dumpster fire of a business model. Efforts to make progression in the shooter more rewarding. Now, the whole reason why we have these pay-to-win battle passes and everything is because Blizzard's like, don't you want to feel good when you get stuff? With people were getting stuff. Really, this isn't anything to do with that. Blizzard is worried that several of the biggest markets, including major portions of the EU, are going to outlaw loot boxes, which is how they had been giving you all this stuff. But a battle pass is allowed because it's not randomized and it's not gambling. So they've changed the process to battle pass. But people are also arguing that it's still a high tier. It is still 45, sure. It's not nearly as much of a slog, but it's still kind of a slog. Now, it should be known that unlike in the original Overwatch, which added all characters for free, Ramatra is still locked behind a paywall unless you grind. It's just less of a grind. And once you hit 45, you can start focusing on the challenge unless Blizzard removes them like LeMay or Bastion for a few weeks. That is a nice little shot too. Literally, I think May's talents were broken for a bit. They had to remove her to fix them. Bastion may be one of the heroes that's like just disappeared. Oh, we didn't mean to remove him from the game, but you can't play him for now. Why not? We're fixing him. And if you thought the Blizzard side of Activision Blizzard was okay, then you really aren't going to like Activision because they've decided to nickel and dime their new union. So the quality assurance staff at Raven Software has unionized back in May. But now they are stating that they have still not come to a contract. This got reissued recently because with all the new things on Blizzard's second quality assurance team unionizing. Now, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 had $800 million for opening weekend, but Activision is apparently still denying unionized staff the raises given to all of the QA testers earlier in the year, and is even requiring the union pay out of pocket for workers to be able to bargain during the day. Is that how it works? It feels both right and wrong at the same time. I mean, you're not working, so you're not getting paid, but isn't that like a form of punishment? So look, the Raven QA software is being represented by the Communication Workers of America, and they had, as of November, they had a fourth contract bargaining session that went nowhere. I don't believe it. I'll check for an update down here. No, it still hasn't gone anywhere. Activision will ignore all of their major demands, including guarantees of continued remote work for those not on site, as well as assurances that the publisher will not unilaterally change hours or outsource the unionized job in the future. What is unilaterally not? This is how ignorant I am on all this stuff, man. I just don't know. So they've also asked for like protections after Roe v. Wade, an immediate 10% increase for QA testers throughout the company, but Activision's just, dragging their feet. Most notably, Call of Duty is still holding firm on not giving Raven QA the $20 an hour minimum pay rate rolled out to the other testers back in April, the ones who did not unionize. Now, Activision argued that it is legally prohibited from doing so until bargaining is finished, but the National Labor Relations Board found in October that the withholding was a violation of workers' labor rights. It's not good when you're violating people's rights. And if Activision doesn't settle, the matter will eventually go before a judge. Now, they're probably trying to delay until after they finish their sale, which was hoping to close by June 23rd. Microsoft is running into problems as Sony tries everything they can to keep Call of Duty out of their hands. Although Microsoft recently announced two major things that also makes me say that. You may have actually just seen that. Is it right here? Yeah, that Microsoft has announced a bizarre pledge to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles. Which is not really... It's a weird... But is it really, though? Because Nintendo sells so many consoles, and the Switch is portable, so if the next one is as well, then I'm not surprised. But the other big issue is that Microsoft said, hey, we're going to fight it if the government doesn't approve it. Which, that's not them being rude, although it is a little mean. It is them just saying that they have the right to have a day in trial if the necessary government agency says we think that this is too close to a monopoly. And Microsoft says, we'll see you in court then if you do that. Now, this is unfortunately not what the head of I believe it's the Federal Trade Commission, wants. They have been trying to look tougher and have successfully blocked several other mergers over the last couple of years. And Microsoft has always been a company that is, very supportive of these efforts in recent years. But the government was kind of hoping that if they said it's blocked, that Microsoft will accept that. This is Microsoft saying, hey, there's no reason to block it, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to fight it if you make us go to court. The government wants the companies to back down and accept the ruling because Microsoft has a very good chance of winning in court. They just have more money and lawyers, and it's really hard to argue that it's a monopoly when it doesn't stop. I know there's a lot of discussion going on. I'm not trying to say any other YouTubers are wrong, but it's hard to argue you're giving them a monopoly when anyone can make their own first-person shooter. Now, yeah, the first one is not going to be on Call of Duty's level because it's Call of Duty. They spend 3 years in the can. They have hundreds of millions of dollars to spend, and they have hundreds of talented developers to employ to do this. But just because Ford makes the best-selling truck in America doesn't mean that if somebody else buys the F-Series, a third company can say, hey, that you can't sell that to them because now I can't beat the F-150. Sony's essentially saying, look, we've never been able to make something as big as Call of Duty, so you can't give it to Microsoft. They'll raise prices. By the way, about a month or two after Sony started making that raise price argument, Sony was the first company to raise their game prices to $70 each. So that kind of makes them look bad as well. Now, why the messaging is bizarre, recently hired VP Lulu Sheng Mesravi went on a mini posting crusade on Twitter, trying to uphold the company's honor by gloating about its nearly $60 billion market cap, and the company praised the $800 million launch of Modern Warfare 2 as bigger than Top Gun Maverick. But that success didn't stop Activision from squabbling with the less than 24 QA testers over their first contract. Wrote the developers, the company refused to bargain during the day unless the union paid for the missed time of workers, which it gladly did in order to attempt to get oh, that's good that the union did. Okay. I'm not saying that the union should have. I'm just saying it's good that the workers did not have to choose. You can either negotiate for your contract or you can get paid. That's not... You can always just push it through the courts later. So, yeah. Callisto Protocol needs to be fixed. Activision Blizzard still sucks. And that's your midweek update, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, play more games because games are awesome and you deserve awesome. I'll see you next time.